How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Set 6, and today we're going to be talking about something to do with the first soldier, and to do with Sephiroth's backstory, because it's really shaping up like the first soldier's narrative is going to be quite important for Sephiroth's backstory going forwards. I don't know what it is that they're trying to convey to us completely, but it definitely feels like they're trying to show us some sort of formative event. Something that's going to make Sephiroth into the person that he eventually becomes. And it seems like that's going to heavily involve the Rhadoran people, the mission to take out the Rhadoran people, and Rosen, who's someone that we've already met in the first soldier, but he's someone that we've already seen before as well. I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but I noticed it earlier on today, and I'm a little bit, because I'm a little bit scared. I'm worried Rosen might get killed. I like Rosen, he's a good kid. And I think Sephiroth might get him. But, you know, we'll see. Anyway, don't forget, drop a like on the video, subscribe for future content, but we're going to jump straight into this and talk about the first soldier. Now, I've been doing a series on the channel where I'm going to play each chapter of the first soldier in Ever Crisis, and I'm going to break it down and talk about it, you know, have a look at it, see what's going on, and see if we can pick anything up interesting. And over the course of the first soldier's narrative so far, we've had a few things that have happened. So we've established that Glenn and his team are one of the survey units that are going out and looking for spots for a new Mako reactor to be built. And Shinra have decided that they want a reactor on the Rhadoran Islands. Rhadore is an area that Shinra defeated in a war a few years prior, but now they've decided that, no, we're just going to take it. We're just going to build a reactor here, and if you've got a problem with that, you can die. That's pretty much it. So Glenn and the team, they go out there, they're looking to find a spot for a reactor, their helicopter gets shot down, and we eventually meet a kid called Rosen. And Rosen's kind of this boy that's living alone on an island, and his job is to watch out for something called a mana torrent. And these are described as massive tsunamis of Mako energy that come along every so often and just destroy everything in their path. So this boy Rosen, he lives on a little island, and his job is to keep a chimney burning. And it'll give off white smoke if all's clear and there's nothing bad going on. This is according to Rosen, by the way. I don't know how true this is. I did mistrust him a little bit. But it's white smoke if all's good. Everything's good, white smoke. Yellow smoke if things have gone bad. Red smoke if things have gone really bad. And the red smoke is the mana torrent just started, run away real quick. Now Team Glenn kind of becomes attached to the kid a little bit, and we leave the island eventually, but you know, we keep looking back at the island and seeing the white smoke and like, oh, he's okay. The white smoke also isn't necessarily to say that everything's okay, it's also to say, oh, I'm still alive, don't worry, you don't need to send anybody else. That's also the function of the white smoke, so that's fun. But we go to the main island, we search for a reactor spot, we find a reactor spot, and once we've sent the message to say, oh yeah, you can build a reactor here, this should be a good spot, Sephiroth turns up. And this is a young Sephiroth, a 15, 16-year-old Sephiroth, and he turns up and he just kills everything. And the mission that he's been given has been to come here and eradicate the Rhadoran people so that we can build a reactor. As he says, we're not here to ask for permission, we're here to get rid of them. So, quite a dark mission for Sephiroth, and it's his first mission, we find out. He's already being pushed as this big propaganda tool by Shinra, like, look at this hero Sephiroth, join Soldier and be like him. This is probably going to end up being the same marketing propaganda campaign that young Cloud saw, or possibly young Zack, depending. It might actually be Zack instead of Cloud, but I'm certain one of them at the very least will have seen this, if not both of them, and both of them will have been compelled to join Shinra because of it. But yeah, this is Sephiroth's first ever mission, so all of these things about him being a hero, it's all a fabrication. Shinra have made this up. And Sephiroth turns up, and yeah, he does kill everybody, but he also proves that he's not really used to dealing and interacting with people. He has some very awkward conversations with the group initially. He beckons them using a whistle rather than, you know, calling them, and the party take exception to certain things like this. Glenn refers to him as a cyborg, which kind of foreshadows the way their relationship's probably going to go. Like, it's probably going to be bad, then it's going to get good, because it does get good. And they kind of connect with each other and they make friends and they start talking to each other a little bit in Chapter 5, which I've just done a video on, check that out. But this is setting up for some pretty big things. And one of the things that I've been quite paranoid about is Sephiroth meeting Rosen, because Rosen's a good kid, and Sephiroth's been sent here to kill all the Rhadorans. and Rosen's a Rhadoran. He's a good kid, and he's a Rhadoran, and Sephiroth's probably going to kill him. And at the end of the previous chapter, Glenn and the party tell Sephiroth about Rosen and point out the island that he's onto, and I kind of get the feeling that we're going to be heading there very soon. And it feels like the events of what are currently going down and what will go down are probably going to set the tone for the future for Sephiroth. And while he's still going to be a nice guy in Crisis Core, he's still got that darker element to him. You know, he seems like he's kind of retracted into himself by that point in a lot of ways. He's not as open with people, and like it's a struggle for him to include Zack and, you know, feel friendly with Zack. And I feel like a lot of that is going to be because of what goes down in the First Soldier story. Because he's made friends, but we see in the promotional work for the First Soldier, we see Glenn and Sephiroth facing off against each other. So obviously it goes bad at some point. And another thing that we see in those trailers, which is kind of the thing that suggests to me that we are probably going to go to the island where Rosen is next chapter in the First Soldier, is at the end of the Countdown to Launch trailer, we see Sephiroth stood there talking to somebody, and the person stood in front of a big bricked up fire, which is very reminiscent of the chimney that we see on Rosen's island, and then the person that he's speaking to, or the person who's speaking to him, is Rosen. It's definitely Rosen. So pretty much confirms that we get to the island on the next chapter. However, another thing that it shows is, in the background when I first saw this trailer, you can see like Lifestream and Mako Energy kind of kicking up in the background, and I was thinking maybe there's something weird Lifestream wise going on here. Little did I know, this seems like we could be seeing a mana torrent taking place in Rhadore, and this would make sense considering the fact that, you know, when you play the original game, you don't ever see Rhadore, you don't ever hear of Rhadore, you don't hear of a reactor at Rhadore, nothing. There's nothing. It's not a location that we interact with. And there are other locations in the franchise that don't exist by the time of the OG that we don't interact with. And I'm getting the feeling that whatever Shinra do at this location, as far as like building a Mako reactor, or maybe it's something that the Rhadorans themselves can trigger somehow, like as a last-ditch defense mechanism, like, right, we're going to lose, so let's just destroy the island chain, let's set off a mana torrent. Because that's what it looks like is going on in the background. When we were previously on the Rhadoran island, we don't see any of these wisps of Lifestream that are in the background behind Sephiroth. So it makes me think that there's at least going to be some kind of massive natural disaster that takes place on Rhadore. I kind of get the feeling that Rosen is going to die, because, again, character that we don't meet, character that we've never seen. I get the feeling that he's going to die, and it's going to be a bit of a vehicle for driving a wedge between Glenn and Sephiroth. Like, I don't think Matt and Lucia are going to matter too much. I kind of get the feeling that Matt and Lucia will probably die as well at some point. But Glenn and Sephiroth, something's got to come between them. And I've just got a big feeling it's going to be the death of Rosen. And whatever event seems to take place on this island. Because at the end of that trailer, we see Rosen talking to Sephiroth about whose lives are important to him. And that he has to make a choice. And I don't know, I get the feeling that he's talking about the Team Glenn. And Rosen basically says to him, like, well, yeah, you're going to have to choose whose lives are more important to you. I feel like we're getting two separate bits of a conversation there. I feel like there's something else that goes in between. But either way, it's looking like Rosen's going to be massively important to this story. There are a lot of possibilities. But if you've been playing the First Soldier, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Do you think that this is going to be a big formative moment for Sephiroth? Like I say, I think Rosen dies, Glenn gets pissed about it, Matt and Lucia probably die as well, Glenn gets extra pissed about it and blames Shinra, and Sephiroth is the face of that, and therefore blames Sephiroth. And that's going to drive a wedge between them. That's what I'm thinking. But let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe for future content, help us hit that 2,000 subs. But more importantly than anything, have a great day.